Okay, you guys, how are you doing? Okay, so we're reading Outwitting the Devil. You guys weren't catching on to my first book, Kinetic Magic. So let's just step it back for a second. This book is by Napoleon Hill, and he's the author of Think and Grow Rich. So should be something good that we can all learn from. Figured I'd read it with you guys because I'm trying to read 40 pages a day. But to start off, you want to start off small. I'm going to read chapter 1, Outwitting the Devil. Publisher's introduction. Combination of fact, fiction, and allegory. Okay, chapter 1. My first meeting with Andrew Carnegie. Its effect in shaping my life. For more than a quarter of a century, my major purpose has been that of isolating and organizing into a philosophy of achievement the cause of both failure and success, with the object of being helpful to others who have neither the inclination nor the opportunity to engage in this form of research. My labor began in 1908 at the result of an interview which I had with the late Andrew Carnegie. I frankly told Mr. Carnegie that I wished to enter law school and that I had conceived the idea of paying my way through school by interviewing successful men and women, finding out how they came by their success, and writing stories of my discoveries for magazines. At the end of our first visit, Mr. Carnegie asked whether or not I possessed enough courage to carry out a suggestion he wished to offer me. I replied that courage was about all I did have, and that I was prepared to do my best to carry out any suggestion he cared to offer. He then said, "Your idea of writing stories about men and women who are successful and commendable, as far as it goes, I have no intention of trying to discourage you from carrying out your purpose. But I must tell you that if you wish to be an enduring service, not only to those now living, but to posterity as well, you can do so if you will take the time to organize all of the causes of failure as well as all of the causes of success. There are millions of people in the world who have not the slightest conception of causes of success and failure. They are willing to be taught, but there are no teachers. The schools and colleges teach practically everything except the principles of individual achievement. They require young men and women to spend from 4 to 8 years delving into academic unreality and acquiring abstract knowledge, but do not teach them what to do with this knowledge after they get it. The world is in need of a practical, understandable philosophy of achievement, organized from the factual knowledge gained from the experience of men and women in the great university of life. In the entire field of philosophy, I find nothing which even remotely resembles the sort of philosophy which I have in mind. If this worldwide need of which I speak appeals to you, may it not be possible that the organization of such a philosophy would offer you great honors that you and any you might win as a lawyer? We have enough lawyers now, but we have few philosophers who are capable of teaching men and women the art of living. It seems to me that here's an opportunity which should challenge an ambitious young man of your type. But ambition alone is not enough for this task which I have suggested. The one who undertakes it must have courage and tenacity. The job will require at least 20 years of continuous effort. during which the one who undertakes it will have to learn this living from some other source, because this sort of research is never profitable at the outset. And generally, those who have contributed to civilization through work of this nature have had to wait 100 years or so after their own funerals to receive recognition for their labor. If you undertake this job, you would interview not only the few who have succeeded, but the many who have failed. As inconsistent as it may seem, you will learn more about how to succeed from the failures than you will from the so-called successes. They will teach you what not to do. You should carefully analyze many thousands of people who have been classed as failures. And I mean by the term failures, men and women who come to the closing chapter of life disappointed because they did not attain the goal which they had set their hearts upon achieving. Along toward the end of your labor, if you carry it through successfully, you will make a discovery which may be a great surprise to you. You will discover that the cause of success is not something separate and apart from the men. It is a force so intangible in nature that the majority of men never recognize it, a force which might be properly called the other self. Noteworthy is the fact that this other self seldom exerts its influence or makes itself known excepting at times of unusual emergency, when men are forced through adversity and temporary defeat to change their habits and to think their way out of difficulty. My experience has taught me that a man is never quite so near success as when that which he calls failure has overtaken him, for it is an occasions of this sort that he is forced to think. If he thinks accurately and with persistence, he discovers that so-called failure usually is nothing more than a signal to rearm himself with a new plan or purpose. Most real failures are due to limitations which men set up in their own minds. If they had the courage to go one step further, they would discover their error. My Carnegie speech reshaped my entire life and planted in my mind a burning purpose which has driven me ceaselessly from half a century. And this despite the fact that I had put a vague idea as to what he meant by the term other self. During my labor of research into the cause of failure, success, I have had the privilege of analyzing more than 25,000 men and women who were rated as failures and over 500 who were classed as successful. Many years ago, I caught my first glimpse of that other self, which Mr. Carnegie had mentioned. The discovery came as he said it would, as a result of two major turning points of my life, which constituted emergencies that forced me to think my way out of difficulties such as I had never before experienced. I wish it were possible to describe this discovery without the use of the personal pronoun, but this is impossible because it came through personal experiences from which it cannot be separated. To give you the complete picture, I shall have to go back to the first of these two major turning points and bring you up to the discovery step by step. The research necessary for the accumulation of the data from which the 17 principles of achievement and the 30 major causes of failure were organized required 4 years of labor. So we shall start now at the beginning of the two major turning points of my life which introduced me to my other self. I had reached the false conclusion that my task of organizing a complete philosophy of personal achievement had been completed. Far from having been completed, my work had merely begun. I had erected the skeleton of a philosophy by organizing the 17 principles of achievement and the 30 major causes of failure. But that skeleton had to be uncovered with the flesh of application and experience. Moreover, it had to be given a soul through which it might inspire men and women to meet obstacles without going down under them. The soul, which had yet to be added, as I discovered later, became available only after my other self made its appearance through the major turning points of my life. Okay, thanks you guys. That was like 3 pages. So if you like this video, I will make more.